Yeah, we're going to get to a play button, Mr. Kaplan. 100K.
All right, so listen. We're going to do a little bit of math really quick. It's easy math. All right, so all right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to put the footings below the frost line where we live. Okay? So if I'm looking at Sussex County right here, we're between 40 and 50 inches like when you get into southern New York State. Let's just go with like 42 inches below the surface of the ground. Okay? If I look at my Revit model right now, do you guys have your ground level set up at negative 1 foot 3 inches? Is that correct? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to click on the Architecture tab. We're going to go to an elevation view. So I'm either east, north, south, west, doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter at all. I'm going to go to my south view. All right, and if I'm in the Architecture tab, I'm going to go over until I see the option to add a level to my model. All right, so it looks just like the same symbol that you have kind of indicating levels, right? So your roof level has this little indicator next to it. It's a symbol, it's a datum symbol. That's what we would call it. All right, so if I click on the Architecture tab, I can go underneath the datum tools, and you have an option to put in a new level. All right, and basically you put a level in just by clicking at the tail and dragging to the head of the level. All right, and you can still move that any place you want. All right, you can position one side of it in line with all of the other datums. You can position the tail of it in line with all the tails for the other datums, and that just kind of keeps things like neat and orderly. All right, if you want to see it one more time, I'll just kind of hit undo and go back and do that one more time. All right, so it's the Architecture tab, your datum tools, click to put a level in. If you want to save yourself a little bit of time, you can just kind of place that in the project in the right spot just to begin with. So you can go ahead and you can click from the tail and you can drag it over and you can go ahead and you can snap it right in place here with all of the heads. Alright, and that level can always be adjusted and it can be renamed. So right now mine says like level 9 and it's at negative 5 feet. We'll mess around with the parameter there for getting it below the ground line 42 inches or so, 44 inches in a second. Okay, but let's just get that thing built. Anybody need to see it one more time? Make sure you're in an elevation view. You got to be in east, north, south, or west in your project browser. Keith, east, north, south, or west view. Keith. East, north, south, or west view. There you go. Double click on any of those, east, north, south, or west. All right, let's go ahead and change the name from level, whatever number it says, over to, how about garage foundation? Okay, now you can do some math. You can add negative 42 inches to negative 1 foot 3, which is, you got some math going on there, or you could do it the easy way. All All right, the easier way might be just to put a dimension on. So if you click on your Annotate tab and you use your dimension tool, you can actually place a dimension between levels. All right, so that way if you just click on your garage foundation level as the element that's going to move, you're going to notice the dimension changes, and now you can go ahead and you can type in like 0 space 42 inches or 44 inches. That's going to be down to the frost line. It ends up corresponding negative 42 inches is effectively negative 3 feet 6 inches. All right, if you just want to copy my values up on the screen, look up here. I got it figured out for you. So you had negative 1 foot 3 inches was the ground level. 42 inches below that is negative 4 foot 9 inches. Okay, so you can just go ahead and you can copy those values if you choose to. Anybody need more time right there? All right, so for your garage foundation, check it out. We're going to do the same thing that we did in the basement with basement walls. All right, except now we're going on to that garage foundation level because there's really no reason to dig any deeper, pay extra money for excavation, pay extra money for materials, all right, when you don't really need to put anything down there except just a footing that's below the frost line. All right, so we're on our garage foundation level at that point, so you can just double click on the datum indicator for that. All right, if I look at stuff that I'm seeing here, I mean, I see like one staircase for some reason, which is kind of strange. I really want to be able to see the garage walls. All right, and those garage walls are on level 1. So in my underlay, I need to change my level over to so that I can see, like for the underlay, I should be able to change it over to first floor. For whatever reason, first floor was giving us a little bit of trouble there, so let's try basement. And we'll change the top level to first floor. And that seems to give us... Yeah, that seems to give us something that we can use. We can at least start with that. I don't really like that so much. I'm not quite sure why that's in there, but that's okay. We'll go with that for now. So I have, for my underlay, I have basement and I have top level as first floor. I'm not crazy about that underlay. I would sit here and like mess with it if I was working on this by myself, but I think we're okay for right now. So what we want to do is we effectively want to draw in place some foundation walls, okay? And the same thing that we did last time when we were on there, all right, was basically just clicking on the architecture tab. I was going up to my wall tool. I was using generic 8-inch masonry block walls. It should now be in like the most recently used wall types. You had three recently used wall types. You had those 4.5-inch partitions that were the interior wall. You had the wood siding, wood stud that was the exterior wall, and you had the 8-inch masonry block wall. All right. As far as drawing stuff, we were drawing it with the finished face on the exterior, so that way it drew like the exterior face of the wall. All right. And then the other thing, just to save yourself like a little bit of time and energy, you can change over your walls so they're unconnected, and we can make them like, I don't know, probably like 5 feet tall, just so that they're going up to approximately the ground. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to trace right around the outside of that garage floor slab. And let's just kind of like rough them in place, like right around the garage floor slab really quick. We'll go back and look at it in 3D, and we'll correct this stuff in 3D. All right, so basically, here's what we got. So we have some walls that are really close to where they're supposed to be located. They're not perfect. All right. but they're loosely where they need to go in the 3D model. Alright, I'll go back and do that one more time just so you guys can see it. So all I did was I clicked on wall, 8-inch masonry block wall. I set the height of them unconnected and 5 feet tall. And just kind of traced out that garage floor that I should be able to see with the underlay. If you can't see that in your underlay, you can play around with the options here in your underlay toggle. So I have, again, like for the base level, it's basement, and the top level is first floor. Again, I'm not crazy about that. But we can fix this in 3D. So we're just kind of getting things like pretty close to where they're supposed to be. And we can actually fix this, we can fix it in 3D. I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. Alright, so like one of the best things about Revit is that you have like those multiple views that all work in conjunction with each other. So when something's being created, right, if you're working in like a 2D view and you need to make an adjustment, you just can't see exactly what it is you're trying to see. You can always go back to your 3D view, or you can go back to like another elevation, or you can go back to another view that you need. Alright, so I'm going to put this up on your screen here really quick. Alright, and then it's going up on YouTube, so you can go back and work through it, or I can come around. I don't want to take like some enormous amount of time right here. Alright, just watch this really quick. When we were working with stuff in 2D, right, and let's say you had like two walls and you wanted them to be flush with each other. Alright, you had a tool in your modify panel. It was called the Align tool, and you could pick a line, and then you could pick a second line, and it would line up that second reference to it, right? Okay, that tool works in 3D also. Alright, and I want you to use it in this instance. So for here, right, you might have like a foundation wall that needs to be flush on the outside. Alright, if I click on my Modify tab and I go over to the Align tool, I want you to see this. I can pick the outside surface of the building, and then I can pick the outside surface of the basement wall, and they're going to align and they're going to go flush with each other. Alright, and that's the relationship you want to set up around the outside of your model. Okay, so if you just kind of hover your cursor over top of a wall, you can use the tab key. Right now I'm pressing tab and I'm cycling through all the stuff that my cursor's touching until I see that little blue pre-selection go on the outside surface of the wall. And now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to tab through until I see the outside surface of the foundation wall. And I can make sure that they're aligned with each other. Alright, so you can do the same thing over here. Alright, there's the outside surface of the building. There's the outside surface of the foundation wall. And just use the Align tool, make sure that they're lined up with each other. Okay, last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pick my foundation wall. I'm going to attach that basement foundation wall to the wall that's above it. You guys see that? So here I'm going to hit attach. I'm going to attach it to the wall. We'll do the same thing over here. I'm going to attach the basement wall to the wall that's over top of it. Again, you got that tab tool so that you can cycle through stuff. Alright, if you can't find what you're looking for, you can always hit tab and you can cycle through the different elements that your cursor's touching. That's what that pre-selection tool is used for. Okay. Next up, we're trying to create that situation like we saw in the images of the garage. all right, where you have a driveway outside and you can drive straight into the concrete floor slab, okay, and then the garage door is going to be on the ground, okay. So back in Revit, if you look at your project, right, you have a ground level over here. Here it is. Look at this. And we'll go color so you can see it a little bit better. This is my ground line, right? This is where the ground's going to be. The earth is going to be down here. And your garage wall is a little bit too, or your garage door is a little bit too high. So let's pick that, and let's change it from first floor down to ground. If it's not going into the second wall, just delete it really quick and go back to your door tool. Find your garage door and just put it back in there on the ground. We'll flip it around. Let's try it one more time. There it goes. So now we'll put that on just the ground. Alright. You're going to notice at that point your floor is a little bit too high and it's also conflicting with those walls, right? So we'll move that down to ground. And let's edit the boundary for it. So we're just going to pull that so it goes inside of your basement walls. So you're just redefining the sketch for the floor. Alright, and what you should end up with, if you do that correctly, and I'll throw a section box on just for a second so you can see it a little bit better. Alright, you have a garage floor slab. It's poured inside of your concrete foundation walls. The garage door is sitting on top of the floor right there. Okay? And then there's effectively like earth underneath it. Alright? Really the only thing you guys have to do at that point to just like 100% finish everything is you need footings underneath these concrete block walls. Alright? So that's real simple. You've done that before. And you have a pretty legit model right now. Okay, once again, it's a very ugly house. You still need some topography, you need some ground outside. Actually, it's hideous. Hideous house. I would never spend any money on a design like this. But you could build it. Alright? I'm going to post this up on Classroom. So you got the video up there.